What's up YouTube, I'm EVscape and welcome back to another video. Now, normally today we would have an episode of the Killing Every Monster from Scratch series, but I'm going to be completely open and honest with you guys. I woke up this morning, we're getting to the point in the series where we have to do a lot of bossing, and I just honestly could not be fucked going bossing. So we're going to do a different kind of video today. The next episode of Killing Every Monster from Scratch will come out on Wednesday as normal. But as for today's video, a while ago I did a video talking about the best Slayer block list for points. And I mentioned that I was going to do the best Slayer block list for money and for XP. So today, we're going to jump into the best Slayer block list for money. So the plan is to go over all of the Slayer tasks that you can be assigned, figure out which ones are the best money per hour, and figure out which block list you should have and what skips you should use to make the most money possible per hour while you're doing Slayer. Now this video does have quite a bit of math involved, so if you're not a big fan of spreadsheets and math, maybe this isn't the video for you, but I'll also leave a timestamp in the description so you guys can skip to the part where I basically just say which is which. But for the main brunt of the video, I'm going to be creating this spreadsheet and going over all of the math involved. Without further ado, let's go ahead and jump on into it. Alrighty, so first things first, for this, we're going to be assuming that you're going to use Duradel for your Slayer Master, since Duradel gives the best money tasks. What I've done is written down all of the tasks that you can be assigned by Duradel. All of them here, and their task weightings. So this way we can figure out, after we've got them all down, how much all of these are per hour. I'm going to write that in the next column. We'll sort them out per hour and then figure out which ones are the best to block and which ones are the best to skip. Okay, so that is all of the profit per hour on average from all of these monsters. Now, I have to give a huge shout out. A lot of these numbers came from Asuka Yen's videos. If you haven't checked him out, I would highly recommend it. He did a series where he did 25 hours of a bunch of different monsters in the game to figure out their proper GP per hour. And that's where I got majority of these from. So if you haven't checked it out, make sure you do. That is Asuka Yen OSRS. So what we're going to do now is go ahead and highlight all of these numbers. And then we'll go ahead and sort these from the largest to smallest. So what that's going to do is put them all in order in terms of profit per hour, and then we can simply just go through all of these and figure out exactly which ones we want to block and which ones we want to skip. So before we go ahead and put them in order, the next thing that we need to figure out is the fact that if you do 250 tasks with Duradel, you're going to get 6,600 points. And that means you can skip 220 tasks per 250 tasks that you complete, and you'll break even on points. Now, if we take those two, add them together, we get 470 tasks, and out of those 470 tasks, you have to complete 250 of them, which gives you a 53% skip rate, which means you're able to skip 53% of the tasks that are assigned. Now, the next thing we want to do is organize our block list. Now, I'm going to run this off the assumption that most people don't have the Lumbridge Elite Diaries done, so we're only going to have 5 blocks on our block list. Now, instead of what we would normally do, which is to take the worst money per hour and block these, what we're going to have to do for this one is take the monsters with high weightings and block those, because while Zygomites are only 50k per hour, they're only assigned at a weighting of 2, which means Mithril Dragons, whilst they wouldn't normally be on the block list because they're a higher GP per hour than the rest of them, they're going to be assigned 5 times more likely than a Zygomite. So we're much better off having this on the block list. So now that we have our block list sorted, which is going to be Dark Beasts, Mithril Dragons, Tizhar, Bloodvelds, and Steel Dragons, we can go ahead and remove them off our list, reorganize this list, and now we have our final monsters that can be assigned to us. What we have to do now is go ahead and take all of the task weightings, add them up, and figure out how many there is. So in all of these task weightings, there is 213 numbers here, which means if we take that 213 and divide that by the 53% skips we can do, it means we're able to skip 112 points worth of tasks. So with that in mind, it's pretty simple from then on out. You simply just have to go up from the bottom of this list until you add up to 112 points, at which point you're better off just doing all the tasks. So let's go ahead and do that now. And just like that, guys, we have our block list, which is Dark Beast, Mithril Dragons, Tazar, Bloodveld, and Steel Dragons. And here is going to be our skip list and all of the task weightings. Now, as we can see from here on out, everything above here is 600k an hour or more. Now, obviously, this isn't the most efficient way of slaying. You're going to be much better off doing fast slayer and then just using other faster money-making methods in order to make your money back. But I know a lot of people like to do slayer for profit, and a lot of people talk about how slayer is really good for profit. So if you want to do slayer strictly for profit, not for points, not for XP, this is the optimal block list and this is the optimal skip list. And that's how you're going to get the most GP per hour tasks from Necreal upwards. Keep in mind, this is if you do Cerberus. If you can't do Cerberus or Armadil or Zami or any bosses like that, you would have to go ahead and change these out for not doing any boss monsters. But most of the time, I feel like if people are doing Slayer for profit, they're going to want to be doing boss monsters anyway. What I'll actually do now is go ahead and redo this entire list and skip list and block list for if you were to do non-boss monsters. If you're unable to do high-level PVM, this list is obviously going to be quite different. So let's go ahead and mix this up a little bit. Alrighty, so I've gone ahead and removed all of the boss monsters from here, well, their boss equivalents. Instead of doing blue dragons at Vorkath, you just do the normal blue dragons here, Avian Sea, rather than doing it at Armadil, you just do the normal Avian Sea. So let's go ahead and sort out the block list for this one. So with that update, our block list would now be Hellhounds, Lizard Men, Mithril Dragons, Steel Dragons, and Fire Giants. So we can go ahead and remove them from our list. Let's go ahead and resort this column. So that's going to leave us with 215 points in terms of task weighting. So if we take that 215 multiplied by the 53% that we can skip, we now have 113 points that we can skip. So let's go ahead and work our way from the bottom of the list. So given our new list and taking boss monsters out of the equation, we would now take these monsters and put them on our skip list for our 113 points. Meaning that everything from spiritual creatures up here are the monsters that we are going to want to be taking the tasks for. And as you can see, the GP per hour is significantly decreased from if you were doing boss monsters. But a lot of people also like to just AFK Slayer, and you can see that most of these monsters are extremely AFK. So there you have it, guys. That is the Slayer block list and also your skip list if you want to make the absolute most money possible out of your slaying. Now, obviously, there are better ways of making money, and obviously, there are faster ways of doing Slayer, but this is just simply to show that if you don't really care about getting the best money per hour and you don't care about getting the best Slayer XP per hour, and you just want to train Slayer and make a bit of money on the side, this is the list that you should be going with. But that is going to wrap it up for today's video. I am going to do one of these for points in the future and also for XP for this and Wilderness Slayer. Once I get that all sorted and once I have that Infernal Cape, I'm going to have plenty of time to do those because those ones are going to take a little more research. But like I said, guys, that is going to wrap it up. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. If you enjoyed it, make sure you give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I'm putting out a new video every single day. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will catch you in the next one tomorrow. Take it easy.